so we're in the process of starting our body work on the left side of the car. And the first thing we want to do, remove all of the old Bondo. This had Bondo all up and down it. Now, it was really dented in here, and they didn't pull the dents out before they filled it. So what I just got done doing, I just went ahead and used my electronic dent puller to get most of the damage out. And I always like to do that before I do any body work because I don't like to use a lot of Bondo. So once again, we're taking our trusty slap hammer, called a spoon hammer, slap hammer, whatever you want to call it, and we're going back over where I pulled the dents out. To get that like we want it. What we're doing is we're slapping, pulling, slap, pull, slap, pull. And then just like the other side, I'm going to go over this with my metal file, and that's just to get the high spots down. Much better, 100%. That's going to save me a lot of time and a lot of work by pulling those dents out first before we apply any Bondo.
Welcome to D.I.Y. Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
So we got a couple low spots right here. I could go ahead and probably just fill those in with some Bondo and be done with it. But since we got our dent puller out, we're going to go ahead and try to pull those out and see if we can eliminate a lot of body work. Let's just say unnecessary body work. So I'm going to take this tool right here one more time, and then we're going to pull that out. So we want to find the center where the door ding is. And we're just going to do that right there. And that dent's gone. So the only thing we have to do with that is probably hit it with our DA sander, get it down to 80 grit, and it's a done deal. This one over here, It's very, very minor. I think we're going to go ahead and just leave that alone. And we're going to see if the primer will take care of that one. So we got a high spot right here. And what we're going to do before we do anything, we're going to go ahead and take our spoon hammer. Let me get that out here. We're going to take our spoon hammer and we're going to hit that right here. Now, I don't know how this got a high spot. I'm thinking that this is actually just a factory mistake. I think this came from the factory, unless somebody was actually inside messing around with the glass or inside the door and popped it out. But on this particular car, I don't see that happening. So I'm going to take my slap hammer, spoon hammer, very different names for it, and I'm going to go ahead and just hit that, and when I slap, I'm going to pull down. I'm going to slap and pull down. And just from doing that, I can tell that the dent, it was a curve in it like this, kind of long ways, and it went like that. Just a little bit more. And it's almost gone. What I'm going to do, I got this homemade one that I made, and it works pretty good. I actually made it for a particular job that I was working on, a car that I was restoring, and it happened to fit the curvature. I'm going to go ahead and take this, and I'm just going to kind of do that right there. And what that's doing, that's just giving it a little more weight, a little more bounce to it, and a little more intention to remove this high spot. Okay, so we got rid of the primer. Now we can go ahead hit this with our metal file. And this one here is a little hard to use. I actually have another one. But when you're using the metal file, you can actually feel the high spot where you're filing. And our high spot's gone, guys. There's no more high spot there. We got a low spot here. I'll pull that out with my dent puller. But what I'm really concerned about now is right here in this area right here, there's actually a high spot right there. Now we can't use our slide hammer on that because it's a curve that goes like this. So there was a high spot here. I took it out. I'm going to show you how to do this. So this curve goes like this, and then of course it goes like this, and then it kind of mellows out and turns flat right there. But the problem is we got a high spot here, so it's curved like this, and then it's got a high spot like that, and then it starts curving again. Now that can be because of this action right here. When this got hit, it buckled up in this area here and it caused everything to kind of wrinkle. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this hammer, and do you see the chipping end of that hammer, or the chip side of it? We're going to use it like a slide hammer. We're going to drag it down. We're going to hit it and pull, just like this. I'm not hitting it hard, I'm hitting it very lightly just to knock that high spot out. There's still a high spot right here, but up here we got it off. So right there is where the rest of our high spot is. So what I'm going to do is take my hammer. As I'm hitting it, I'm dragging it down. Hit, drag. See what I'm doing here? Let's see what it feels like now. And it's gone. Just a little bit. Maybe a little bit right here. Right there, I think that's it. And we got rid of that one, so there was 2 high spots, and I believe it was from the dent down at the other side here. From this getting crushed in, buckled it up going this way. Does that make any sense? So, there you go. We got one more problem, which is up here. We're going to go ahead and take care of that real quick. Now this is, of course, a factory defect. This is where the quarter panel would roll around. But right in this area here, it feels like there's a low spot right there. So I'm just going to go ahead, get my dent puller lined up. And then I'm just going to give it a little bit of a pull. And when you're doing this like this, you want to be very careful in this area, because you can go too far and really screw things up. So you want to be very careful. And a lot of people probably won't even go to this extreme to actually take that little imperfection, factory imperfection out. Alright, so we went ahead and finished up our rust repair. We started early this morning. We got all of the imperfections and little dings taken out. And now what we're ready for is to go ahead and start applying our body work to it and get it done. So it's already 5:30, 6 o'clock here. We're going to go ahead and call it quits for tonight. We're going to come back bright and early tomorrow and hopefully have this body work ripped out and done. One place I forgot to clean up is right here. This is where our lead is, where the quarter panel meets the roof skin, and we'll make sure to get that and make it right. So I want to thank everybody for watching this little video set, and I hope that this is helping you out by learning how to do this type of work. There's not enough people out there that actually do this anymore. I'm kind of a dinosaur legend at doing this, because nobody really wants to restore old cars anymore, and the price of restoring old cars is getting so expensive that even rich people are blinking their eyes twice before they even do it. So most of the cars that are being restored here are memorabilia type cars. They're not just cars people are going to go out and buy and say, hey, I want this car so I can drive it around town. It's a memorabilia thing from their childhood, or possibly one of their relatives owned the car, kind of like the Corvette in the background over there. And, you know, that's great that people are still restoring old cars, but the problem is we're not getting a lot of views. We're not getting a lot of views on how to do this because nobody wants to do it anymore. It's kind of a sad deal. It's showing me that I'm getting old, because when stuff starts disappearing and starts to fade away and you never see it anymore, I mean, that's telling you, hey, you're getting old, buddy. You're getting old. This is Pete, my friend Pete, your friend Pete, restoring an old car, feeling old, but still getting her done. both sides of the car. And what I'm doing now, I'm going to prep this up. I'm prepping it up for some polyester primer. Now, normally, a lot of times we wouldn't use polyester primer, but this car has a lot of door dings and imperfections that we can't see. So it's better to go ahead and put 2 coats of polyester primer to flow it all in good and make it worthy that we're going to get rid of all the imperfections, so when you look down the side of the car, it looks really nice. So what the trick is on polyester primer, and I'm going to show you the brand I'm using, is that you have to put a coat of epoxy primer on first. You cannot spray polyester primer direct to metal. It will peel off and it will come off, and you're going to have serious issues if you don't put epoxy primer on it. Now you notice there's epoxy primer already on this. So what I did, since epoxy primer is basically a non-sandable primer, I went ahead and roughed it up very quickly with my DA using 80 grit and moving very quickly to just rough up the epoxy primer that's already on here. So the brand that we're going to use is called Featherfill G2. That's this right here. It's made by Evercoat. They also have another product called Super Build. On a job like this, we don't want to use Super Build. Super Build is a super high build product that is a lot thicker than this. It's almost equivalent to spray-on Bondo. All this is in between the Super Build and the 2K primer. This is a very good filler primer. It's called Featherfill. It flows out really, really nice, and it looks really, really good. So this is the product that we're going to use on that. Now this product requires fiberglass hardener to react it. Once that is reacted, it's one, let me go ahead and tell you the mixture here. It's one of these bottles per 1 quart. Once it's reacted, you have to go ahead and use it within 30 to 40 minutes. Now the gun that we're going to use, they don't sell these anymore. This is a Harbor Freight gun, and I call it a mini pressure pot gun. This is what I've been using for years. I used to use the Campbell and Hosfield one. They quit making them. Harbor Freight started selling these. I started using these, and when I started buying these, they were like $10 or $12 each. You get about 5 or 6 uses out of them. If you keep them real clean, you can get more than that. This is probably about the 7th or 8th use. You can see I keep mine nice and clean, and it works very, very well. So very nice gun to have. This is basically an air. This adjusts your air over here, and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to use that in a minute. But what we're going to do first, we're going to go ahead and get our epoxy primer on the vehicle, and then we're going to let that dry. Then we'll come back and mix this up and then put that on. We're only going to put 2 coats. That's all this is going to take. 2 wet coats. And let me tell you, this stuff goes on very thick. You got to move very quickly, and you got to know what you're doing. Alright, we went ahead and stirred up our G2 primer, and now I add about 7%, 5 to 7% of acetone to my Featherfill. And the only reason I do that is because it lets it flow out a lot smoother than putting it on super thick and looking like orange peel, if that makes any sense. So it's a good idea to do that. Now, when you mix this up, it's one hardener for every quart. So we're going to go ahead and cut this hardener off. Now, once again, this is fiberglass hardener. Now, I got my heater in the other room going. It's approximately 68 degrees inside my shop. One good thing about this, it doesn't leave any overspray in the air. It goes on so thick that there's really no overspray, but the smell's there, so it's always good to make sure you use a spray mask. And this ain't going to be the only primer that we spray. This is just our first primer coat. Something I like to do is I like to take pictures of where the bodywork was, and then that way what I do is I go ahead and I put one big full wet coat just where the bodywork is, and then the second coat that I put on, I cover the whole panel. Does that make sense? Now, we're only going to prime where the bodywork is. We're not going to prime the whole car with this because the whole car doesn't need it. That's another thing when you use this stuff. You don't need to prime the whole car. Only use it where you need it. Here you can see I like to take pictures, and what that does, that shows me where all the bodywork is that I need to cover with my Featherfield G2. So I'll walk around with my cam with a picture, and I'll watch that, and then the first coat that I put on, I'm only going to put on the area where I did body work.
Thanks for watching D.I.Y. Automotive School. Classes don't stop till you know everything.